You had more experience than most bench coaches when you were with the Yankees. How much did Aaron Boone getting ejected from games help you prepare for this?
Look, I don't know that particular, because that is not a secret, right? He got thrown out a lot. But I'll give him credit. He got so much better, towards the end.
At his animation?
No, I think
he was good at that.
Almost like last 2-3 months of the season where he didn't get thrown out. But, early on, he went through a stretch where I think it was like twice a week.
When you were hired, you took the number 28, which I know had meaning to you.
But when we signed JD, I think it was one of my kids that brought up, like, Dad, I think he's number 28. What if he wants number 28? I was like, I didn't think. I was like, well, if he wants it.
There's a rumor you told us about at spring training that we want you to be able to dispel.
It's not true. And you know what? He was one of those where I think I read it on the internet and I was like, where are people coming from with this? There's no way I'm gonna do that every day.
Mets fans, we're at the Apple. I'm Vito Calisi. That's Jonathan Barron. And opening day is hours away.
Vito, what better time? I mean, you got March Madness, which we've been doing for a couple days now.
Yeah.
And now, baseball is back after a long off season, a winter, although we don't really have true winters anymore around here.
No.
But you still go through October, November, December, January, then spring training hits. But the thing about spring training is you get the taste of it starting, and then it just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Do you remember when the Super Bowl would end and you would be counting down the days till spring training? And now the Super Bowl is on during
Super Bowl is going to be pushed even further. It's I think the NFL wants to make President's Day weekend their own, so that whole dynamic is changing.
You guys will get to know us. So some of you have been listening to Future of Flushing for a little bit, probably, and some of you you've been listening to Meet at the Apple the last few weeks. We've been doing interviews with some players. That has been such a treat for us, both as lifelong Mets fans. But now, throughout the season, you're going to get to know Jon and Vito, the people.
And that's all good stuff. Look, we like to have fun here on the podcast. We like to talk about a variety of things. But
I thought you said Ava Righty, and I was like, who's Ava Righty?
I don't know an Ava Righty, but I do know that we are on the verge of kicking off the 2024 season that we are so excited for, and you fantastic, amazing Met fans should be so excited for a variety of reasons.
Ava Righty,
whether it's...
Ava Righty's my favorite.
We got to find an Ava Righty. Whether it is the team on the field, or the promotions that we're going to get into, or the food at the ballpark, or so many other amazing fun things that are going to happen right out there, because we're in the Empire Club, right?
We are in the Empire Club.
So we have a nice look at the field right now. The Brewers are working out. Baseball, I could taste it. I could taste it.
Jon, you know how excited I am for this year?
Tell me.
Jon, I'm going to tell you how I feel about this team, and it's going to sound very reaching, but I want to explain why. I get 2015 vibes.
Okay, now you got to explain. Show your work.
Now, this is why. 2015, I remember being excited for the season, but I remember going in, I didn't have World Series expectations in 2015.
Sure.
I went in thinking there's a lot of young talent coming up. This is a fun team to watch. Maybe they can make a playoff run. Who knows what can happen? I felt good about the team going into it, but I was like, let's see what's going to happen. That's how I feel going into this year. I am super stoked on the 2024 Mets. And let's talk about our core topics real quick, because we're going to come back to this stuff later.
All right, let's get into them. So this is our first time that we're really just kind of doing our show. You guys have seen the interviews that Vito alluded to, but we're going to have a couple different segments on the show, and we are going to call them core topics because meet at the Apple. So there's going to be a lot of apple puns, but that's all good because apples are healthy, they're fibrous. And who doesn't love a good apple? We asked some guys their favorite apple. Not all of them.
A lot of them said red.
A lot of them said a color.
Most of them said red.
Yeah, but that's okay, because then we educated them. And we were like, hey, maybe check out the produce aisle at Publix.
I wouldn't have known a Macintosh or a Sweet Delight.
Sweet what?
Sweet Delight.
Sweet Delight's not an apple. I don't believe so, at least.
Sweet Delicious? What?
Sweet Delicious is an apple.
Okay, so Sweet Delight's not that far off.
I wouldn't say it's an apple. But
all right, so our core topics for today, we're going to get into a few things. One, around the city. That's going to be when we go around Citi Field. We tell you what's going on at the ballpark this week in this homestand. What's our next topic?
After that, Vito, we are going to take a look at the 2024 Mets on the field. We'll break it down. We'll go starting pitching. We'll go bullpen. We'll go lineup. And then we have an amazing interview that we just recorded with Carlos Mendoza. We talked about so much with Carlos. Carlos is the man. Mets fans are going to love this guy. I already love him myself. I mean, I loved him before.
How could you not? And I want to say, so we had a brief conversation with him back in spring training when we sat in his office, and we talked about, like, hey, we're going to be doing this. We're going to get to know each other, so let's start now. And, like, I don't know what happened between then and now, but I felt like he was our best friend when we walked in.
Yeah, just a natural conversation. It was like the cameras weren't even there, and we talked and we talked about a lot. We had some fun with Carlos. We talked about the team. We talked about family life, which is so important.
To hear it. Now, I have a goal for this year. And on Future of Flushing, if you ever listen to that, one big thing we would do is we'd ask players what their goals were for the season. My goal is to meet at the Apple group chat with Carlos Mendoza.
That's a lofty goal. That's first my cousin Jamie. You want to do a group chat with?
Yeah, where's the group chat with Jamie? I don't know why you won't do that.
I don't know. I'm just you want a lot of group chats. That's a lot of battery drainage, you know.
Is it?
I think when you get a lot of text messages, it kills your battery. Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the.
What if Carlos Mendoza isn't using an Apple phone and he's got the green bubble?
I'm not going to judge him now, even though, I mean, like, green bubbles
that would be bad.
Green bubbles are wild.
That would be bad. It could be WhatsApp. It could be WhatsApp.
It could be WhatsApp. WhatsApp is fine. Let's jump into the interview. Here it is. This is us talking to Carlos Mendoza. Hey, Carlos.
Hey.
We were just around. Do you mind? Mind if
Sure.
we just come in?
Come on in.
Let's have a few minutes. Nothing major.
Yeah, let's go.
We were
Come
around,
on in.
you know.
You want to know if you're in the lineup or something?
Sure.
Hey, Mendy, we brought you a little gift.
Oh, what do we got here?
All right, so April 27th, the Mets are doing a Harry Potter giveaway.
Okay.
And we just thought, I mean, look, we didn't pay for this. Obviously, it's a team promo item. But we just thought to start
Does that
this
mean do
off.
I have to pay for it?
No, we're regifters here. We're regifting.
okay.
But you're about to start a brand new managerial career. How could we come empty-handed to the office?
So
I
fans,
I need something here, I guess.
fans will get these when they come into the ballpark, and they'll each get sorted into a Harry Potter house. So why don't we all just get into it and see what we are?
Let's take a look here. So, all right.
Oh, you guys are matching.
There we go. So we're both, I believe these are Gryffindors.
Yeah.
No, this is Gryffindor.
That's Gryffindor. So
What do we got here?
That is, I think that's Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Yep, you got that right.
And there are meanings to these.
It
that,
matches your hoodie.
Right here?
Yeah.
It's a little chilly out there, so
Yeah.
this is
I
this is
can wear these in
nice.
the dugout.
I mean, we are in New York in March and April. You might need it, but what a time of the year, right? Spring training in the rearview mirror, and we're about to get going. And for you, it's got to be so special as you are about to start your managerial career. So, what are the emotions going through you as you're getting set to go?
Yeah, it's getting real, like coming in here a couple of nights ago, coming from Florida after we broke camp and walking into the locker room and, to the office, special, something that I've been preparing for my whole life, my whole career, and here I am, having the opportunity to put in the uniform for the first time as a big league manager and to do it for the New York Mets. What an honor, what a privilege, and we're ready to go.
We were actually wondering if you had a little bit of experience. You had more experience than most bench coaches when you were with the Yankees, jumping in and taking over. How much did Aaron Boone getting ejected from games help you prepare for this?
Look, I don't know that particular, because he did. That was not a secret, right? He got thrown out a lot, but I'll give him credit. He got so much better, towards the end.
At his animation?
No, I think
He was good at that.
almost like last 2-3 months of the season where he didn't get thrown out. But early on he went through a stretch where I think it was like twice a week for a week, and I got a lot of experience, But look, every step along the way, even as a player, as a coach, and obviously my years in the other side of town, in the dugout, right next to Boone, helped me a lot. But here I am, I'm here, with the Mets, ready to go, excited, and looking forward to a great season.
Yeah, no, that was an all-timer, I'm sure. Did you ever talk to him about that one? Just like, dude, what were you doing out there?
That one in particular, it was like, I wanted to laugh as soon as it happened, because I was right next to him, like, I want to make sure, things get heated at times, and, but when he pulled that, I wanted to laugh so bad. But no, I don't discuss this with him. But look, Boone, great friend, and But now we're competing against each other, right? It's
no more friends this time of year.
Yes, that's it. You know, once in between the lines, like trying to beat them. So.
Yeah, what's it been like transitioning? I mean, like, it's in the same city, but two very different teams, two very different fan bases. Like, obviously, we haven't started a game yet, but how's that adjustment been?
Well, look, it's New York, right? Expectations are always high, and we have a passionate fan base that cares a lot about our team, and they expect us to win baseball games and championship, right? And we embrace those expectations. I think the transition's been fine. You know, I've been in this city for 6-7 years now, and I know how it feels. I know it's real, you know, but I don't think there's a better place to do it than New York. You know, like they're gonna let you know when we're not playing well, but they're also gonna cheer for you when we are playing well. And you know, to be here and to have the chance to be playing meaningful games. And look, October baseball, special, you know, and this is something that I'm really looking forward to it. And I know we got long ways to go and we got work to do, but you know, I'm really looking forward to it.
You got some guys addicted to the postseason.
Yeah,
that's JD. Right. Yeah, you know, like I seen this guy from the other side of the dugout for a lot of years, you know, and now that I got him on my side, and you know, for him to say what he said, it's pretty cool. You know, that's what we're here for. You know, when you're competing, when you're in the arena, you want to win, and you know that's what we're trying to do here.
Speaking of JD, when you were hired, you took the number 28, which I know had meaning to you. And then JD comes, and JD, great ball player for a very long time, and you were gracious enough to give him the number 28 for nothing in return. So what was that conversation like? And then is there meaning to number 64, which you've taken on?
So yeah, the 28 was my first number. You know, I said it. You know why I chose 28 at the beginning. This is a special day, special number for me and my wife and our family. When I was a player, you know, that was my first number, and I pretty much used that throughout my career, especially in winter ball. And when it was available here, I took it, right? But when we signed JD, I think it was one of my kids that brought up, I was like, Dad, I think he's number 28. What if he wants number 28? I was like, I was like, well, if he wants it, I'll be happy to give it to him, you know, like, we're getting JD Martinez, right?
It's a good trade.
Yeah, so sure enough, you know, day one when he was came in the office, we had a conversation, you know, expectations and things like that, kind of get to know each other. He walks out, and like 20 minutes later, he comes back in and he goes, all right, Skip, what do I need to do to get number 28? And I was like, you know what? Hit a lot of homers, you know, like go out and be JD Martinez. You can have the number, you know, like I'll go back to number 64, which was the number that it was given to me. They gave it to me in New York. So 64 has been my number at the big league level. I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, they're the one putting the show. So like for me to give it to JD was easy.
All right, so JD just has to hit a bunch of bombs, and it's a fair trade, and everyone's happy.
It. Yeah, that's it. Help us win as many games as possible.
All right, JD, that's it.
Go do be you, hit homers, and we'll be fine.
Now, you brought up your kids, and something me and John noticed when we were at spring training. So you might have seen us. We were in the same spot every day doing our podcast, and what we noticed every single day, you would come out there with your kids after practice. You were out there playing fungo with them every day. You were throwing with them every day. And like for us, it was just really cool to see how important family is to you, how important your relationship with your kids is to you. Do you want to just let us into a little about like what home life is like for you?
Yeah, you know, everything to me, you know, my family, my wife, my parents, my kids. You know, it's not like we get to spend too much time around them because we're in the office, we're in the ballpark, we're traveling, and it's hard for us to find that time. So I'm always trying to find that balance. And when they are around, I want to spend as much time as possible with them. Like, so I will bring them in after a game or before the game. We'll get in the cages. We'll hit some balls. We'll play catch. I'll hit them ground balls. They both play travel balls. So, you know, it's a way of me to give back, you know, because mom is always at home being the mom and the dad, you know, because we're never there. So when we do get that opportunity to be together, I make sure that they are around as much as possible, and for them to experience, you know, the whole thing is a privilege, you know, like lucky, I guess, you know. But they mean a lot to me. They're my everything, and you know, it's something that I really enjoy doing it.
Do you have any favorite moments that you saw them have at camp?
Yeah, I mean, when they walk in there and they see so many great players. So it's like that's Edwin Diaz. That's Francisco Lindor. Oh my, there goes Pete Alonso, or you name it. Like I can keep going and going and going. Like that for me goes a long way. Like they get to see these superstars, and now up close, and it's kind of like that. You're the manager.
Yeah, you're flexing. You're like, oh, that's just Pete from work.
No, it's like but it's one of those. You take it for granted at times, and look, it's a pretty cool experience, and happy that they can go through it.
Now you mentioned all the time you've spent with the team, and you just mentioned a couple guys on this team. Talk about the club, the makeup of the club, first as ball players, but also the guys in that clubhouse. What kind of a team can Met fans expect in 2024?
Yeah, look, we have a great team, and we believe so. Players believe so. I know projections and things like that might say something different, but at the end of the day, it's what we think, what we believe, and we do have a really good team. What a great group of guys. Like I was very, very impressed since day one, but as the days passed during spring training and watching these guys go about their business and how they prepare, how detail oriented they were. Like not only the superstars, but the way they were connecting. Like the older players, established players with some of the younger guys, but then some of the younger guys, starting those conversations with these established players. Like for me, that was pretty neat, we see the talent on the field. We see that they got good players, but inside that locker room, like how connected and how much they care, I've been really, really, really impressed. And that goes a long way, and that goes, that says a lot about our team, and I'm really looking forward to a great 2024.
And it seems as if the way the front office built this roster out is every last guy from 1 to 26 is going to make an impact. So from your perspective as the manager, what are some of the staples that a Carlos Mendoza team is going to have, the characteristics of your ball club?
Yeah, team that's prepared. They're going to go out there and execute fundamentals. It's going to play hard. But at the same time, keeping it fun, because the game is hard, man. The game is hard, and it's important for them to know that, yeah, you're preparing, you're doing your homework, you're doing the things you need to do behind the scenes so you can go out there and be yourself, right? But I'm excited about our team. I'm excited about our depth. You talk about 1 through 26, I'll take it even farther. I look down the AAA, and it's like, wow, there's depth, there's talent. And you're going to need a lot of these guys to get to not only 162 plus. That's what we're trying to do here. And I'm really excited about that.
I mean, yeah, you probably got to spend a lot of time with some of those guys from the minor leagues at spring training because we had some guys in Major League camp. And a few of those guys are bilingual as yourself. How important do you think it is to be a bilingual manager?
Yeah, look, I think it's important, but I don't think it's everything. I think at the end of the day, it's about communication. Whether you can speak their language or not, it's about building relationships. I don't speak Japanese, but I'm trying to communicate with Senga, right? And I'm trying to build relationships so he can trust me and I can trust him. I gotta get to know individuals because at the end of the day, I'm the one making the decision. And if the more I know those individuals, we're gonna have all the information and things like that, but I have to know the person. I have to know the player, not only the talent, but the makeup of it, and yes, being able to speak Spanish and being able to communicate with a lot of our players, it's important, right? But I see it as you have to communicate no matter what, and you have to listen, and be available for the boys, and that's important. So I'll take a lot of pride on that, and I remember being 60 years old, coming from Latin America, not knowing the language, for the first time. And I had a coach come up to me, and I had no idea what he was telling me. But now, like dealing with some of that and know where they're coming from, I think it's important that I can speak their language as well. Yeah. So.
Speaking of coaches, you've got a great coaching staff here. Some guys that were here before you and some that you brought in after you were hired. So for Mets fans who aren't as familiar with some of the newcomers, can you talk to us a little bit about the coaching staff and what everyone brings to the table?
Yeah, look, it was a long and detailed process. Once I got the job, getting with David in the front office, trying to put together a coaching staff with so much balance. Because we were looking for experience, but also the progressive thinking and things like that. So having that mix. The good thing is that a lot of these coaches that were here already, like the feedback and my conversations with them were off the chart. So those were easy decisions, the Hefners, Barnesy, Chavi, Sherlock, all of these guys, and then a lot of the people behind the scenes, like all the support staff that we have in place, because there's a lot of people working for the Mets. They do so much for the players, for the teams, whether it's in the cages, whether it's in the cafeteria, in the training room.
Team travel.
The team travel, yes. Edgar, he's off the charts. Like, he's next level.
How much did he pay you to say that?
No. And, obviously coming from a place like, where I was at, they do things there, but here, having a guy like that.
Yeah.
So again, I go back to the coaching staff, but I got to give credit to a lot of the people that don't get too much credit.
What about the podcasters?
Podcaster, great,
Yeah.
Man, like, you guys were grinding in spring training.
You saw that. You saw it because you were walking back and forth every day, 4 p.m.
Man, it was 4 o'clock and they're still here, 9 a.m. and these guys are here rock and rolling. That's, you guys are part of the family too,
Wow.
We appreciate that.
Oh my God.
Together.
I have
So,
butterflies.
Back to the coaching staff,
Yeah.
like bench coach experience.
We love
obviously.
Gibby. Gibby's our man.
Gibby's the guy.
So this is a guy that's going to help me, get through some of those tough moments. Because at the end of the day, everything will go through a tough stretch. And this guy that's been in this seat before, this chair, that's been through it, done that, and his personality, his ability to relate and connect with so many different people and with different backgrounds, it goes a long way. Sarby at third base, a great infield guy, a lot of experience. He's worked for Tito Francona, Hall of Fame, potential Hall of Fame. And to put him at third base, Antoine Richardson, been in the big leagues, outfield, base running, brings a lot, that progressive thinking. And then Jose Rosado, the bullpen coach, guy that had experience not only as a player, playing the big leagues, made all-star teams as a pitcher, coaching for so many years. Like, I have a really, really good mix, good balance in this coaching staff, and I'm really looking forward to go to battle with these guys.
And for fans who don't know, Jose Rosado has a close relationship with Luis Severino, going back to, I think, the Trenton Thunder in the minor league. So that's awesome.
Not only with Sevy, but Quintana. When Quintana
was a Yankee farm man.
Was the Yankees,
that's right.
We had him when he was, in rookie level. And then in WBC, he was a bullpen coach for Team Puerto Rico, so he knows Edwin Diaz, he knows Jorge Lopez. So he brings a lot, but the knowledge, the experience, the willingness to get better, and then how he connects with people. So him and Hef, is pretty nice.
That's awesome.
Now, before we get out of here, we want to give you the floor because there's a rumor you told us about at spring training that we want you to be able to dispel.
And it has to do with sunflower seed. So the story is that you, before games, would go out and throw a sunflower seed onto the field, one representative of each man on the 40-man roster. This has gone all over the place. And peek behind the curtain, we chatted with you. You were kind enough to give us a few minutes in spring training. And it was brought up. And you blew our minds. You told us it wasn't true.
It's not true. And you know what? It was one of those where I think I read it on the internet, and I was like, where are people coming from with this? Like, there's no way I'm going to do that every day. I like sunflower seeds.
Who doesn't?
They're great.
Yeah, but no, that's not true at all. So whoever came up with that, I think I need to have a sit down with him and say, hey, man, like, I'll tell you what, I get confused with another Carlos Mendoza that is also from Venezuela and playing the big leagues for the Rock. I think he came up as a Mets. So
you know what, like year, what range that was in?
I will say he's probably, 7 years older.
Okay.
But he played in the big leagues a little bit, and he's from Venezuela. It's Carlos Mendoza. There's not too many Carlos Mendoza from Venezuela, but there's two of them. So I wonder if there's a little mixed up there with it, because I get his jersey at our fans come up to me and say, hey, can you sign this card? And I look at the piece like, I'm sorry, that's not me.
You won't sign it?
No, because that's not me.
Yeah.
I say, I'm sorry, but that's a different Carlos Mendoza. So I wonder if that something to do with that. I don't know.
I don't know, but so we're going to do this weekly, and Vito and I are going to do our homework, and we're going to come back. We're going to do the research. We're going to launch an investigation.
Yeah,
and
we're going to bring him in one day.
We're going to find out. Now, there's one last thing, and you mentioned people mistaking you for another guy. You've got a bit of a different look right now than people might have seen in the past. You got a little.
Yeah.
You got a little. So, does the wife like it? Number one. Is she on board with the?
Well, that was the number one thing, you know, like
you got to clear it.
Yeah, it's like let's see how it goes, and then I got the okay. I was like, all right, we're in good shape. My kids, same way. Dad, are you planning on keeping? I was like, yeah, let's see how long it goes. So here I am. We'll see how it goes. And,
new year, new Carlos, new job.
That's the best way to say welcome to Queens.
There you go. Maybe
Love
I'll
that.
go full beer.
Carlos,
Thanks so much, Carlos.
Best of luck.
Thanks, yes.
And
Thanks
we'll talk to you next
for
week.
having me. Yeah. See you guys next week.
Cool.
Sunflower seeds.
Dude, I love sunflower seeds, and I'm glad to hear he likes them. I think I know who started that rumor. I think I know who it was.
What do you think it was?
I think it's documented who it was. I'm not going to say the name.
Just say it.
I'm not going to say the name.
Just say it.
He has a radio show in New York.
There's a lot of people who have radio shows in New York.
Well, that's a clue. I'm not going any further.
Would you say that any?
He went to Fordham. That's it. Last clue.
What about what was there? Would there be a letter that you would use to describe him?
Yeah, it's. I think it's after J. It's after J.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's after J. I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, look, I'm not trying to out anybody, but it would make sense.
But it's not. It's public. You saw it on a game. You saw it on a game. It's not like a secret.
Yeah. So now we have to ask that person where he got that information from. That's the journalism. That's the hard-hitting stuff that we got to bring the people on Meet at the Apple.
Now, we asked on Twitter before the episode what questions you would want us to see ask Carlos Mendoza. How about right here on the YouTube? Drop a comment, let us know. We talk to Carlos every single week. We would love to get fan questions in. This week, we did ask some questions that some people wrote on Twitter.
Yeah, Jesse James Burke asked about the number 64, and we brought that up to Carlos. Shout out, Jesse, a huge Met fan. Great collection, by the way.
Fantasy camper.
Fantasy camper. Jesse's the absolute best, and we appreciate the questions. So we weren't lying, folks. We're bringing your questions to the skipper in his office, which...
That was wild.
Yeah.
Did you get in trouble a lot in high school?
Did I get in trouble a lot in high school?
Probably not.
I was a middle school menace.
Okay, I got in trouble.
My mom can attest to that.
I got in trouble in high school, so I went to the dean's office. I went to a school with the dean of students.
Fancy boy.
And fancy boy. And I went to the office quite a bit. But enough about us, and you guys will get to know that we go off on tangents, and some people like it, and some people find it annoying. But let's jump into the 2024 Mets. Let's get a little season preview in.
Yeah, I mean, look, 30,000-foot view. This is a team, Vito, that is going to maximize, and you guys just heard us talk about it with Carlos Mendoza, is going to maximize 1 through 26 on the roster. And I say it again because, look, there were situations in the past few years where maybe one spot required a few guys, or maybe one spot required a platoon situation, right? Mm-hmm. A guy that couldn't hit lefties and righties, or a guy that didn't have versatility defensively. You look at the roster right now that the Mets are broken camp with and are going to start the season with. Joey Wendell can play all around the infield. Zach Short can play all around the infield. Jeff McNeil can play second base. You could put him at third in a pinch. He could play the corners in the outfield. That is incredible versatility that the Mets didn't necessarily have in the past. So, to me, that jumps out at me off the top. You have a roster that you were going to get something out of each roster spot, and I don't know that was the case in the past. So that excites me. Another thing.
How do you feel about what I said about the 2015 vibes?
So,
and again, this isn't me saying I think the Mets are going to the World Series.
Sure.
This is me just saying, like, I'm going into the season with such good vibes. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel so much better going into this season than so many past years.
Yeah, and I think that the 2015 comparison is that there weren't huge expectations going into that season. Now, that team was different because it had Harvey coming back from his Tommy John surgery. It had DeGrom coming off of his Rookie of the Year. It had Noah Syndergaard, who everyone knew that he was about to come up, and he did come up in May, and obviously we all know how great he was for that team, especially in the playoffs. It had Steven Matz waiting in the wings as well. It was a very... there was a lot of pop in the pitching rotation. And, the lineup, especially early on, didn't have that pizzazz necessarily.
But what we have here, we have Kodai Senga coming off of, what did he finish, second or third in Rookie of the Year voting?
Yep.
You also have Luis Severino, who's like in a bounce back year who's really going for it, has to prove a lot.
Yep.
Quintana, who was a workhorse for us last year once he came back from injury. So, like, although I totally get that was a very different team in 2015, I don't think it's as far off as a lot of people might think.
Well, you were talking about, especially the additions to the rotation. You talk about Luis Severino, who's popping 98, who's got the slider working, who, down the stretch last year, his final 5 starts for the Yankees before he was shut down, he was really good, sub-3 ERA. And the peripherals are all there with Luis Severino. I think it's as simple as a change of scenery is so good for the guy, and it showed in spring training with how good he was. And so, you know, people, the validity of things you see in spring training is such an interesting debate. Can we believe what we're seeing? You know, there's the old adage, who's ahead of who? Are the pitchers ahead of the batters, or are the batters ahead of the pitchers? And I think that it varies. I think that there's so much variance, especially the last 2 years. Think about this. And I wanted to bring this up with Mendy, but we had other things to talk about. 2 years ago, 2022.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Are you gonna talk about Scherzer? Are you
No.
Scherzer and Dom Smith?
No, I'm going to talk about what I was going to say was the weirdness of the 2 seasons. 2022, there was a lockout, and everything was truncated. 2023, you had the World Baseball Classic, and the Mets had, I don't know if this is fact, but it felt like they had more players participating in the WBC than any other team, and obviously we know what happened.
From the major league roster to the minor league roster.
Dom Hamill was pitching for Team Puerto Rico. Jonathan Arauz was playing in the World Baseball Classic. So Mets camp was heavily impacted. So it varies from year to year how much you can really put into what you see in spring training. But when you can have a parade of relievers coming out of the bullpen and throwing up zeros the way that the Mets did throughout the schedule that they played in spring training, when you have that, and when you can prevent runs the way that the Mets did during spring training, there is something there. Because other teams, whether it's position battles, whether it's guys trying to get their timing down, I can tell you that hitters want to go into the season feeling good about themselves. Yeah. And for the Mets to be so good at preventing runs, and that is obviously a credit to the arms on the mound, but also the stellar defense that the Mets were playing throughout the spring, that is what excites me, and there is no reason to believe that that is not going to continue into the regular season.
And I think what fans need to understand about spring training is that you're working on specific aspects of your game in spring training. It's not like a regular season where you're going in and you're just trying to hit, like, for 350 or something. Like, you're not going in with those kind of goals. You're going into a spring training working on, okay, I want to get balls off the ground more. I want to lift. I want to get a little more lift. Oh, I want to get pull side power down a little better. Pitchers are working on control. They're working on specific pitches. So it's all case-by-case basis. There's no part of, like, going one way or going the other way.
Right. Look, I think that a home run total, let's say, you know, wind is abundant in Florida. You don't know exactly which way the wind is blowing, so...
And it was wet and rainy and cold for the whole time I was there.
It was, and it was windy.
And you know what? You people might notice, I'm wearing the same hoodie in most of the interviews we did. You know why?
It's a nice hoodie.
I was not prepared.
Yeah. Dude, I did that when I went to Boca 2 weeks before spring training. I brought one sweatshirt, and it's like 60 degrees every day, and I'm wearing the same thing, and you know I hate that.
And you
know I hate wearing...
This guy brought 6 suitcases to avoid that.
I wouldn't say 6, but I don't like wearing the same thing more than like...
Every picture I see from these interviews, I'm wearing the same hoodie, and I'm just like, what are you doing, Vito?
It was the weather. The weather was crazy, but it's another thing to consider when you evaluate spring training, when you talk about spring training.
But let's talk about some more players.
Let's talk
about people that we're getting back. One person we're getting back, the biggest one, let's get it all out there, Edwin Diaz. I don't care who you are, what you say, getting Edwin Diaz back is probably the biggest thing that can happen this year.
Yeah, look, I mean, we don't need to tell you guys how big of an addition, if you would, Edwin Diaz's return is. You know, I feel like there was a lot of copium at the time of his injury last year because there was a lot of excitement around the Mets. And it was obviously a blow, and I think a lot of people tried to convince themselves, like, well, you know, it's the closer, and, you know, you still have all these other... No. What happened was the bullpen was shortened flat out. You know, your setup man becomes the closer, and your 7th inning guy becomes the 8th inning guy, and the 6th inning guy becomes the 7th inning guy, and you start putting guys in situations that they weren't acquired to necessarily be in, and it had a domino effect, and it wasn't good. Edwin is back. He's nasty. He's excited. We're all excited. He's got the brand new LED light.
I was just about to say, you know what we're really excited about?
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, we're excited to watch Edwin pitch, but I cannot wait for this light show. I cannot wait to see Edwin come into a game. I can't wait to hear Narco again, dude. Like, it's crazy. You know the last time I heard Narco was?
What, opening day?
October 21st.
Your wedding, right.
My wedding.
Right.
When me and Jon danced the Narco at my wedding.
Right. There's one thing that I think goes overlooked about Edwin Diaz, and it is the situation where he is the great equalizer and a weapon that really no other team has, and that is an extra innings. Because the extra inning man on second rule, when you have a guy who misses bats over half the time with a whiff rate of 53.9%, whatever it was, or that was his strikeout rate a couple years ago, you know, the key in extra innings when you have the free runner on second is you can score that guy with a couple of outs.
And you want that, it's all about that first strikeout.
Right.
Literally, first strikeout, bigger than anything.
Right, because you take the bunt away, you take productive outs away, and that is what Edwin does that so few other pitchers in the game provide to their team, is he can strike anybody out at any time, and the Mets over the last 2 years have been kings of extra inning baseball, but especially in 2022, and it was because Edwin Diaz didn't give the other team an opportunity to even drive that one run in.
It felt like cheating.
With a couple of outs. Like, it is cheating. It's a market inefficiency.
You know what Edwin Diaz feels like? This is the way I feel like Edwin Diaz pitches. Edwin Diaz pitches like the way I play MLB The Show.
He's just, everyone's swinging because the fastball and the slider, the overlay, it's so tight. By the time you've made that swing decision, what you think is a fastball at the knees has fallen off the table. So
and fun guy.
Fun guy.
And we'll tell you some stories. We'll get into it. We'll talk to him throughout the season. But, like, the personality that Edwin Diaz has, he's so much funnier than people would ever realize.
100%.
Like, even talking to him just...
I mean, his teammates adore him.
He was in that dugout for most of last year.
Yeah.
Even with the injury. And that says something. That says a lot about a guy. Now, let's run through some other players real quick. One guy we got to mention, Pete Alonso. Let's just put it out on the table. It's a contract year.
It is a contract year for Pete.
That's a year Pete has to perform. It's the first time that Pete has a chance to make, like, real serious money in his career. And you know what? That's always a factor. You see players go off in contract years. So Steve Cohen said it on this podcast on episode 1. He hopes he hits 53 home runs and makes his life really difficult.
Look, there's no reason to believe that you're going to get anything else from Pete Alonso. I mean, that has been his MO. No one has more home runs in the majors since he made his debut.
How many people I've spoken to who didn't realize Pete hit, 43 home runs last year?
Yeah.
Like, the amount of friends I have that don't realize that was the number he hit.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, and, you know, I know a lot of people like to knock the year that Pete had in 2023, and they point to his batting average, which his batting average on balls in play had taken a dip. He hit into some hard luck. All the peripherals were the same. And guess what? That batting average, Pete's not a 230 hitter. And this is why, you know, when you talk about a player and evaluating a guy.
You're a batting average guy.
I'm not a batting average guy. And David Stearns did not convince me otherwise. And I got what David was saying. It is a cool way to compare over generations. But you need the context. And Pete's not a 230 hitter. You're going to see, I promise everybody, you're going to see that batting average increase this year. And that's just the way it goes. You know, batting average fluctuates. Pete is a solid all-around hitter. He shortens up with 2 strikes. Obviously, we know about the immense power. Pete Alonso is a given for this team. Pete Alonso is an absolute given. And, you know, I mean, we echo what Steve Cohen said on this podcast. We hope he hits 65 home runs.
I hope he hits 64.
I hope he breaks Bonds' record.
I hope he hits 64 home runs.
He'll break another Aaron Judge record.
I hope he breaks the local New York State baseball home run record.
Yeah, well, we can't call it the American League record, which I still can't believe that was a thing. Like, whoever talked about the American League record?
No, the local New York record.
Yeah, I know.
It's the New York record.
I know.
Well, let's talk about another returning guy, Starling Marte.
Starling Marte,
obviously, he played last year, but he was battling double groin surgery.
Yep.
I didn't even know I had 2 of those.
Yeah. Starling Marte is one of the keys when you talk about this season for this Mets lineup, especially, you know, if he's hitting towards the top of the lineup. He lengthens the lineup. Of course, the addition of J.D. Martinez also lengthens the lineup. Things just got a little brighter here.
Addicted to the postseason.
But yeah, Starling Marte, look, in 2022, when he suffered the unfortunate injury, that is when you look back and you kind of do an autopsy as to what went wrong.
Let's just say the season changed.
The season changed. He was such a valuable player for that team, hitting in the 2-hole.
Remember the pop he got at the playoffs in Game 1?
Oh, yeah, and he got a hit also. I mean, you got to respect the hell out of Starling Marte for coming back and playing in those playoff games. He obviously was not 100%, but he's 100% right now. And Mets fans should be excited about the return, the true return, because he was out there opening day last year. He homered opening day last year, the home opener. 2 straight years, by the way. Marte has hit a home run during the home opener.
Let's go for 3, buddy.
And Lindor also. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
You're the numbers guy. One thing you're going to learn about John Barron on this podcast, if you listen to Mets stuff, you didn't know this. Johnny Stats, Johnny the numbers guy. John loves citing numerals.
I like citing numerals. But yeah, Starling Marte is a massive key. And you know what? You can give him a breather. You could DH him every now and again. You could put him in right field. The Mets added Tyrone Taylor, who's going to be an invaluable 4th outfielder for this team. late defensive replacement. He also has some pop, a great athlete, so very excited about Tyrone Taylor. Now we're just talking about the outfield.
John, I just had an idea.
Tell me.
All right. We've recorded a few interviews at spring training that we still have left to release for you guys.
Yep.
Really excited to get them out there. How about I throw out some names, and in the comment section, you guys can comment, and we'll keep looking at it through. Our next episode's going to come out on Monday. We're going to record it on Sunday. Let us know who you want to hear from, and some of those names would be Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, and Tyrone Taylor. How about we put those 3 names out? And if you want to hear one of those, comment right here, let us know, and that'll be the one that we drop.
You brought up Sean Manaea. That's another guy who the Mets went out and they signed at their price this offseason.
Oh, we do have beef with him, though. I just want to put this out there. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We recorded a 10-minute interview with Sean, and 5 minutes were us talking to him about his hair, and then he went out 2 days later and he cut his hair. So when you see this interview, he's going to have his hair, and we're going to talk to him about his hair.
A little dated.
So just deal with it.
It'll be a tribute to the beautiful locks that he had.
Yeah. But what you're saying about Sean, and like an actual thing that matters and not my silly banter?
Sean's going to be another integral part to this rotation. This starting rotation, so look, I'm a big WFAN guy, right? I'm a big sports. I'll out myself.
Say your dream guest.
I'm a big Mike Francesa. I'm a big sports talk radio guy. I grew up on it. I love to do it. I guess that explains why I'm sitting here with you wearing this amazing shirt, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Around the city, coming up soon.
But I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, they don't have an ace. And we talked about the 2022 season. You know, we've been weaving in and out of things. What the 2022 Mets had, a healthy Starling Marte. Pete Alonso had a great year, set the, RBI record. But that team had rotational depth. You had Carlos Carrasco, who had his best year as a Met. He was only here for 3 years, but he was really good that season as a 3, as a 4. You had Taijuan Walker, who was really good as a 3, as a 4. You had Chris Bassett, who I know it didn't end well with Chris Bassett, but he was really good as a 3, as a 4.
I mean, look, Mets fans, we have to get over the recency bias.
Right.
Bassett crushed the rest of the season.
He was reliable. He took the ball. He was really, really good. That team had rotational depth.
You know what we're looking for from Mets fans? We're looking for Mets fans. We're trying to be more grounded.
Yeah.
And John and I grew up Mets fans. John and I both had season tickets at different points. We were both at the no-hitter. We were both at no-hitters. Both no-hitters. And, we love this team.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much both of us love this team. This is a dream job for us. This show is a dream opportunity for us. But one thing we want to do is we want to help ground Mets fans.
Yeah. And just, take a look back with a level-headed approach. So people forget about that 2022 season because DeGrom was there and Scherzer they were both on the roster.
Yeah, but also
DeGrom didn't pitch until August, and Scherzer had not 1 but 2 IL stints. And what got the Mets through that time was the rotational depth that they had put together. And last year, you had Scherzer and Verlander at the top of the rotation, and it didn't work out. And it's nothing against anybody. It didn't work out. Yeah. And that is what it is. Now this year, you want to say, well, they don't have a real ace. Well, I would argue that Kodai Senga's first year in major leagues was ace-like. Obviously, he's going to have a bit of a delayed start to the season, but it was ace-like. But my point is, do you really need an ace, or do you need a rotation of 5, 6, 7 guys? I'm talking about Tyler McGill.
It's literally quantity over quality.
I'm talking Jose Butto, who is waiting in the wings. I'm talking when David Peterson is ready. I'm talking when Christian Scott or Mike Vassell or Dom Hamill or one of the many talented young pitchers in the minor leagues are ready to come up. The Mets are rich with options in the rotation. Adrian Hauser, a couple years ago, his sinker, which was on display many times in spring training, that backdoor, whether it's a sinker or a two-seamer or a cutter, I'd love to actually talk to Adrian or Jeremy Hefner, friends, by the way, about the pitch and get, number one, what is it?
Are you saying your friends or their friends?
No, well, we're all friends here. But I would like to know what he calls that pitch, because in 2021, it had the 7th best run value of any pitch in baseball. And over the last 3 seasons, it is the 70th, which I know doesn't sound that impressive, but I'm talking singular pitch. So let's say, I don't even know how many pitchers are on baseball. And
how many pitchers are on a baseball?
Yeah.
Stitches or pitchers?
Pitchers.
How many pitchers there are in baseball?
Pitchers. It's a large number, and you say each guy has, 3-4 pitches? There's a lot of individual pitches.
That John doesn't know.
My point is there's a lot of individual pitches. To be number 70, that's like 95th percentile.
Yeah.
Adrian Hauser is a very, very good number 4 who found success with the cutter, who found success with the slider last year. A couple years ago, 2022, was one of the best pitchers in the National League in the second half. Mets fans we're not thinking about him because everyone, we need the ace, we need the ace. No, you need Guys that will go out there and give your team a chance to win. And then they hand it over to the bullpen, and we know that David Stern's calling card throughout his career in his positions as a GM, as a president of baseball operations, is putting together good bullpens and just running them out there, one guy after the next, posting zeros. And that's what this team has. The Jorge Lopez moves.
And isn't that something that this team has needed for quite a while?
It is.
And I'm not saying, look, Edwin Diaz has been a game changer, like we said. That completely changes the bullpen.
Of course, but it's one guy.
But I know my entire life, I feel like one of the main problems we've seen is a bullpen. Look at 2007 and 2008.
The Mets almost have too many good options. You know, Nate Lavender had a moment in spring training.
Nate Lavender, future of Flushing. Hey, guys, real quick, go subscribe. Listen to this podcast. Subscribe to Meet at the Apple. Subscribe to Future of Flushing.
Pro.
Subscribe to Amazing Conversations. Go to all your Mets podcast desires, all your Mets podcast needs. We got past, future, and present.
That's right. But they had too many options where Nate Lavender, out of the jump, like, right now there's no room. You got Brooks Raley. You know, he's your lefty out of the bullpen right now. You got Jake Diekman, another lefty out of the bullpen. Another shrewd pickup by the Mets, struggled with the White Sox, goes to Tampa Bay, has success. By the way, I read this earlier. A teammate of J.D. Martinez is from their Red Sox days. You know what Jake Diekman said about J.D. Martinez?
What do you say?
He said he is the freaking smartest hitter of all time. That's what he said.
That's a big statement.
That's what he said.
That's a big statement.
That's what he said. You know, the wisdom that J.D. Martinez is going to bring to that clubhouse is just, it's immense. So there are so many things to be excited for. The rotation is deep. The bullpen is deep. The lineup has gotten deeper. There are reinforcements all over the place. This front office staff, baseball operations team has done such a good job of filling out a complete baseball roster. And for the first time in a long time, when you have to dip into the minor leagues.
First time, long time.
When you have to dip into the minor leagues, there is an abundance of options to come up at any time and help. And that's what excites me about this season.
And lastly, let's just talk about the young kids, Beatty and Alvarez. Two guys we're going to be excited to watch another year. Beatty's first time breaking the season with the major league team.
Yep.
You got Alvarez, who just I mean, come on.
The sky's the limit.
Ask for anything more from a young catcher than what you got from Francisco Alvarez last year?
The sky's the limit. And the Mets were bereft of offensive production from the catcher spot a little bit, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That's not the case. The Mets are going to be at the top of the class now with a guy like Francisco Alvarez behind the plate, who the only other guy with more home runs in an age 21 season than Francisco last year was Johnny effing Bench. And I said effing so Vito doesn't have to bleep me out.
That's a good point.
But, I mean, that's company you want to be with.
Offensive is one thing, but also defensively, Francisco Alvarez
great game caller.
Which is crazy because it was one of the fears people had when he first got called up. Was he ready for this? And then he comes up and he just knows every single move he needs to make. And, Omar Narvaez has been a big part of him just helping get him ready,
100%.
helping work with him constantly. But, outside of that, there's things that Francisco Alvarez has been doing that are on his own doings, like the move he did last year, where he jumped up right away to Scherzer to stop the pitch clock violation.
It's not get a violation.
Stuff like that goes the extra mile, and I'm sure you've heard people talk about this already. But Francisco Alvarez went from rookie to just viable major league stud.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the way it is in life. You start a new job, day one, you don't know your way around, and then after year one, you start to know. It's your place now. And you've got to think for a kid who's 21 going on 22 that there's such a boost of confidence having gone through the major league season, having played the duration of the season. Because remember, he was in the low levels of the minor leagues in 2022 even. Yep. He had never played as many games as he did last year. And he went on a surge in September. The sky is the limit for Francisco Alvarez as soon as 2024. Now, I don't want to throw out numbers there and set bars that are or aren't clearable. And you guys at home, you can... fans can set their expectations, but Francisco Alvarez is going to be, he's a cheat code in a way because you look around the league, there aren't many catchers who can provide the offense that Francisco Alvarez is going to provide the Mets. First base is a position of offense, right? Corner outfield, position of offense. The Mets have another market inefficiency at shortstop. How many great offensive shortstops are there?
No.
Not many. Not one that fields a position like Lindor either. No. There are so many things about this team. The lineup is deep. I said it before, I'll say it again. Brett Beatty hit the ball hard nonstop in spring training after a bit of a slow start. Brett Beatty last year, for the first time in his life, and I spoke about this with Colin Hetzler, who has a very close relationship with Brett Beatty, the AAA hitting coach. Colin said it best. Brett Beatty last year struggled for the first time in his life. In his life.
And you've seen other players hit that first adversity in their life and not handle it as well.
Brett went home. He knew what he had to work on. He did it. He came to camp looking great, and he had a great spring training. Finished with an OPS over 800.
And he was really nice to us.
Oh, forget that. He was the man.
He's the man.
He was the
and
man.
You know who else was the man? John Gibbons. And you know who else was the man? Harrison Bader. There's a lot of really cool guys on this roster.
This is a lovable team, dude. This is a lovable team.
And, like, I just want to say the vibes were so great at spring training. It was such a good time. But you know where the vibes are going to be better this year? At Citi Field. Let's get into our next segment, Around the City. This is a segment where we're going to tell you what's going on at the ballpark. I said it before. So, first off, let's talk about food. We went to what's new last week. Boy, oh boy, do you guys have a lot coming to you when you walk in these doors.
Oh, man.
Come with an empty stomach and a full wallet.
I had a tummy ache after. I'm not gonna lie.
Because we did it the wrong way.
We ate a lot.
This is what I'm telling you guys. We ate every single thing in a 45-minute period.
Oh, man.
That's like going to one game and eating everything. Come to a few games. Come to a bunch of games.
Yeah.
Try
Space
something
it
every
out.
game.
Space
Don't
it out.
do it at once.
Yeah.
One of the things we got to bring up, I think my favorite thing, Ann Burrell from the Food Network.
Oh, yeah.
The loaded pepperoni nachos. Now you hear this and you go, is that nachos with pepperoni on them?
Mm-mm.
No.
The pepperonis are the nachos.
The pepperonis are the vehicle. And it's provolone, it's hot red peppers, it's grilled onions. I mean, like, and you're just scooping these thick pepperonis. You're just scooping in and you're going in your mouth. And she has a chicken parm hero on garlic bread.
So that was for me. I'm not a provolone guy. Vito calls me Cheese Boy, whether you've heard it. Maybe you've heard it. Maybe you're going to start hearing it for the first time.
Dude, not for nothing. I edited our Christian Scott interview.
Yeah. I know. You pointed at me and you said Cheese Boy.
Yeah,
he had no idea.
I think he got a little, he got taken aback when you said, don't call me that. He said, oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, well, Philly rolls are disgusting. But.
And this is in section 101, is
yes.
the Ann Burrell stand in Citi Field.
Important call out. The chicken parm on the garlic bread and had a little ricotta, which that's a cheese that I can do that one. That's fine. You know, it's not invasive. It's not an invasive species like some of those other cheeses. It's a fine cheese. That was absolutely delicious. Another one, Adam Richman.
Adam Richman, man versus food.
So I was so locked into enjoying the food and like learning about the food. I shook the man's hand.
Dude, not only did you shake his hand, he like explained the food to you.
Yeah, but I just didn't put two and two together of who he was. And then after I was like, oh, that was Adam Richman.
Well, I will say it's because we started going down the line.
Yeah.
And then like we had just, actually it's funny that we're talking about these two because they were right next to each other, but we just talked to Ann Burrell and then we moved down the line and then all of a sudden Adam Richman just starts explaining burgers to us.
The French onion burger, wild.
The au jus.
Yeah, just wild. Do
you like a French onion soup? Because it's pretty cheesy for you.
I do. I remove the film of cheese on the top. That's what I do. I like the actual broth of French onion. I love onions. So I like when they're nice, chunky, caramelized onions in there. And then, I guess it's a bread. It feels like a giant crouton.
You know what I just realized is really funny?
What?
We used to get yelled at on Future of Flushing for talking about food.
Yeah, but you know what this...
Here,
yeah,
but now we're talking about stadium food, so we can talk about food all we want.
Well, you know what this podcast is also called?
What?
Eat at the Apple.
Eat at the Apple.
Eat at the Apple.
You're seeing it live.
There you go.
So yeah, the French onion soup burger is really good. And then there was the Juicy Lucy, which I believe is stuffed with cheese, grilled onions, has a pickle on top. I mean, like, and that is going to be the Adam Richman Burger Hall of Fame. That's going to be in the outfield over in section 104, which is by the World Fair Market. And that's an area where we go a lot because they also have sushi there.
They do. Incredible sushi here at Citi. There's... I mean, like 81 games, is that enough to...
I just want to say, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people hear stadium sushi, and they're opposed to it.
Oh, this is fresh stuff.
Stadium sushi, you see the boys cutting it right in front of you. I mean, the sushi here, that's like my dinner most nights.
The sushi is fantastic. You know what I couldn't get enough of? I don't know if this is in your notes, but and you're not going to believe this because it's cheese involved. The mac and cheese brisket.
Really?
Dude.
That's like 50% cheese. That's like 75% cheese.
It's noodles, but the brisket, and they have the pulled pork also over there.
That's Pig Beach.
Yeah, Pig Beach. I don't even know where to start.
Start in the outfield. That's where it is.
I think that and the quesadillas with the
quesadillas were really good.
The quesadillas were really good.
The quesadillas were really good. Dude, did you have the burrito?
No, I didn't see a burrito. I didn't see a burrito. How about Keith Burger? The Keith Burger is back.
Keith's Grill
with the avocado on top, the guac. That's fantastic.
Dude, do you remember that stand back in the day? That was upstairs. It was upstairs behind section like 514, I guess that would be. This is just a funny story, dude. I used to come to games all the time in college. And, I would, have a good time. I would have some adult bevies. And
as one does.
I started being friends with the girls who ran Keith's Grill, and then they would let me skip the line. And I remember the no-hitter, I like really bonded with them, and then every game after that, they would like come up to me, they'd say, "What's up?" They'd escort me to the front, they'd give me a fresh burger. I have like really fond memories of Keith's Grill specifically.
Well, Keith's Grill is back. You got to check it out.
And fan voted. The fans wanted Keith's Grill back, and it's back.
That's what's so great about this organization. The fans speak, and the Mets hear the fans.
Look at the new start times.
That's right.
The new start times, they changed it because fans like voted, and they were like, hey, like we don't want night games on Saturdays. We want day baseball.
Some other organizations would dig their heels in and say, you're going to get what you get, and you're going to like it.
But we don't do that here, dude. We care about what the fans want. And like the food here is so good. And there's one really popular item that was making its rounds on the old internet.
Oh. See, I was told I need to bring it home, actually, for the wife and the mother-in-law.
Really?
And everyone to try,
So we're talking about the
rainbow cookie egg roll.
Which I was, John will attest to this, I saw it from across the room and I said, give me that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's creativity, right? You have a rainbow cookie, which is great. Who doesn't love a good rainbow cookie?
It's my favorite cookie.
And you got a fryer, I guess. And you just try things out, and
there's no difference between that and like a fried zeppeli.
No, I know. Like it's like a fried Oreo. Fried Oreo. Yeah, fried zeppeli is also a thing.
No, I know.
Well, but it's not a cookie putting it in the fryer.
A fried zeppeli is just a zeppeli.
Although the shell of an egg roll is different than just like dough.
I think what they probably use, and I could be wrong. I bet you it's not like egg roll.
Yeah.
I bet you it's cannoli.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because it has like the little craters on the outside.
Yeah. I bet you it's cannoli. We'll find out. We'll have that guy on.
Yeah. Well, we asked him.
6 months. He made that thing 6 months ago.
I was fascinated. I was like, is this one of those things that like, maybe you're hanging out and you're doing something that's now legal in New York and you just like come up with the idea like, what if I fried a rainbow cookie? And then you just do it and then it works out. I was like, how did you think about this? Where did this idea come from?
Yeah, that's the hard-hitting questions we're going to ask.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's what we do here on this podcast.
But also, like, that's like such a big part of baseball. And like last year, it was the donut. It was the Jacob's Pickle fried chicken sandwich and donuts.
Yeah.
And like one thing we've seen over the last few years, like baseball teams, like
the White Sox. Did you see their like
the campfire, campfire milkshake?
Yeah,
that thing. And then like I know the Diamondbacks had a wild thing.
Yeah, the hot dog, the mass of the churro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some things are a bridge too far.
People in Cincinnati have that Skyline chili thing.
What's that?
Nah, no thank you. But here at Citi Field, everything is good, and we're going to be eating.
Please don't be mad at us, Reds fans. I like your team this year.
And let's talk about our best friend we made at What's New.
Who's that?
Pat LaFrida.
Oh, my God.
Not Pat LaFrida specifically. One of the people, Pat LaFrida, we're going to have her on the show. She was incredible. She handed us the gigantic, what are they called? The tomahawk?
Yeah.
Tomahawk
steak. Yeah.
We were literally like this big.
With the bone engraved, you can get it customized.
Yeah. You know why? Because Mets fans, we do the chop the best.
That's right. Pat LaFrida, I mean, the best purveyor of meat, incredible.
Yeah. The chop house right here.
Yep. Yeah, holding that tomahawk was special. I think we have some footage. I don't know if
we do. Maybe I'll throw it in right here.
Maybe just that.
You're looking at it right now. You know what? You're looking at it right now.
Yeah.
You, the fan, you're seeing it. And if you're listening on audio, thank you. Keep subscribing. Give us some reviews.
That's right.
Go over to YouTube. Check out the footage.
We can describe the tomahawks.
Go look at it.
Yeah, take a look. Yeah,
yeah. Now, what else is going on?
We got some other stuff you guys to look at.
We got some other stuff. We got a brand new team store.
We do have a brand new team store.
Weren't you sick of like sometimes you go to the team store, it's so crowded you couldn't even get around. It was like almost like why would I even go in here?
Not anymore.
That team store is gigantic.
Dude, that thing from the ceiling where you're looking at it and you see the Mets in script and then you go to the
illusion,
left.
Yeah.
And then it's the NY. I mean, I got to ask whoever came up with that the same question that I'm going to ask the people that came up with the rainbow cookie egg roll.
Well, you know that.
How did you think of that one?
You know the backstory behind that, right?
I don't.
That was almost used for something a few years ago.
I love when an idea, you come up with it and then maybe it doesn't get off the ground and then you recycle it, you repackage it perhaps, and then you put it somewhere else and then all of a sudden, bam, you got yourself a great idea.
But we got some team store items here. Now, okay, we're gonna be real people right now. I know a lot of fans had some harsh reactions about some of the stuff that released this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I first saw some stuff online, I didn't get it. I need you all to come to the stadium.
It looks clean. It's
in
clean.
person.
It's clean.
No, like, dude, in person, I completely had my mind changed about the no white. It looks amazing. Like, I actually love it.
It's clean. It's really clean. No, there's nothing like the black uniforms. We all know all the great memories, and many have been made. The hat with it, put them together. I mean, that's clean.
No,
as we drop
I like
papers.
it a lot. I like it a lot. We can do that camera too.
Yeah, no, I think that everyone's going to see these and everyone's going to come to love them. So
I really like the orange backdrop. Like I said, like I was on Twitter that day like everybody else, and I was at first I was like, oh what? But in person, it looks so different and it looks so good. Like I'm definitely gonna buy this.
Yep. You also have a couple jackets here on display. Shout out Ryan.
Show me your camera.
Caccioli. This one got some jewels on the sleeves, a little sparkle, a little glitz, a little glam. Very nice. Got New York Mets. Yeah. Got some denim. Who doesn't love a nice denim?
And this is all available at the team store. These are brand new this year.
Yep.
I mean, this is like a varsity jacket, like a Letterman jacket.
That's awesome.
This one's sick. It's got patches all over. You got some World Series patches. 2-time World Series champions on the back and on the front. I mean, like, dude, this is some quality stuff. I mean, dude, there's some good stuff in the team store. There's some really nice crew neck sweaters I saw down there.
This man has a problem.
I do.
This man has a problem. They should. Oh man.
When I was talking,
that's only gonna fuel your addiction further.
When I was talking to Ryan about the team store, I was literally like showing him stuff. I was like, yeah, I bought this. I bought 3 of these last year. Bought 2 of these last year. So like, this is the kind of stuff I buy in bulk.
I look at Vito when he's talking about the merch, and you know the SpongeBob gif where he's like, that's you.
Do you know what else they have?
What?
They have the sleeveless hoodies the players wear.
Oh, no way.
They do. We should buy some.
I'm down.
Let's buy them. We're gonna buy them opening weekend.
And maybe we'll do an episode in them.
Maybe we'll do an episode in them, dude. Those things are fire. Every time I've seen players in them, I've been like, ooh, I hope they sell those. I hope they sell those. I walked through the team store the other day and I saw them.
Let's also highlight some giveaways coming up.
Oh, it's promo time, baby.
It's promo time.
Well, one of them we did bring up to Carlos Mendoza.
Yes.
So you saw those. Those are the Harry Potter scarves. That's going to be Saturday, April 27th. The sick thing about that, you're going to walk into the stadium and they're going to hand you a scarf, and you don't know what house you're going to get placed into.
Random.
The promo people are your sorting hat. Are you a Harry Potter guy?
I read the books when I was younger. It was many years ago, and then I kind of fell out of it.
I saw all the movies like a few times up until Goblet of Fire, and then like my wife has been trying to make me to watch all of them again.
Yeah, I'm a sports guy. Sports, SpongeBob, South Park, 3 S's.
We're Costco guys. Have you seen those videos?
Yeah.
I'm a sports guy.
Yeah.
Doc Gooden.
April 13th, the day before, his number is immortalized in Mets history forever, and not only does it bobble on the head, but the arm is bobbling too. Amazing feature. And then we got this shirt. I don't know when the rugby shirt's going out.
That's this Monday.
That's this Monday.
That's this Monday.
Okay, so you got a sneak peek of the rugby shirt. I'll stand up and model it a little bit.
Well, you can't stand up.
On that camera. No?
Just sit in there. Just sit right there. Dude, your shirt is perfect.
Yeah, so, hopefully I didn't mess the mic up, but this is a nice fit. You could wear this thing to work. You could wear this thing on a date. You could wear this thing to watch some sports with the fellas or the girls or the ladies or whatever it is. You could wear this to a family get-together. You can wear this thing wherever, and you're always repping the orange and blue. So definitely get your hands on one of these. And they play the Detroit Tigers during that series, so it's going to be a whole heck of a lot of orange and blue that weekend.
Yeah.
That week.
That's actually perfect.
Monday through Wednesday.
It's perfect because you throw them off. You don't know who's who.
Yeah, they have a navy blue. We have a different blue.
Royal blue.
Royal blue. We're royal blue. They're navy blue. And then the Royals come in.
The same week?
No. That's
You're confusing me.
Yeah, they go on the road, and then Doc weekend is against the Royals. How well do you know this schedule?
Could you, how many teams could you name in a row that we're playing?
I know the home teams better than the road teams.
Team.
No, I know like who's coming in. Look, we've dissected the schedule a little bit. I know a decent amount, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I memorized the whole thing. But I like to live my life one day at a time, one series at a time.
You know what I used to do? My whole season was scheduled around the promo items. I'm not even kidding.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Like my whole entire season. What's your favorite promo item this year?
This year? Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
I love the Gooden bobble arm because like I've never seen a bobble end hard, and I love bobbleheads.
I think the pickleball paddles are really unique. Oh, you know what it is? It's the Mercury Mets jersey.
The Mercury Mets jersey is electric
because of how quality it is. It's like oftentimes you get a jersey and it's like it's rinky dink, it's fugazi. Not this. No. These are incredible, and it comes with the undershirt, but it's still sleeveless. Get the guns out in the summer.
And it says it's a Piazza jersey.
It's a Piazza. It's not just a blank. Yeah, it's. The Mets went above and beyond with that one.
I like the Mr. Met London bobblehead.
That's a really unique one.
That one's really cool because the London series, obviously, that's awesome. The Mets Hawaiian shirt because, dude,
It's back.
Okay, so Mets Hawaiian shirt a few years ago. This is a really funny story.
2019?
2019.
Yeah.
2019. It was the last time they did it.
Yeah, do you remember that weekend?
It was on the schedule for 2020, and then COVID happened.
Of course.
And I've actually asked a few people what happened to those shirts because I want to get my hands on them. They might not have ever come. Because,
Could be anywhere.
But like I love that Hawaiian shirt. These are much better quality than those. Those Hawaiian shirts were like a polyester that was almost like almost like you were in a sauna suit.
Yeah, you're wearing nothing.
This is like no, it was the opposite. It was like you were wearing it was like a sauna suit.
Oh, I thought it was like very thin, like paper.
It was thin like paper, but it was like there was no breathability to it. These ones they got are like real shirts, and they're a really cool design with like hot dogs and stuff. But 2019, Hawaiian shirt day. I'm on Hinge at the time. I'm talking to this girl. We're trying to make plans to meet up. And I was like, I can't. Like I was like, okay. She was like, I have book club in the morning. I was like, I have a Mets game at night. I'm like, would you want to meet for like 2 hours in the middle? And she was like, no, I don't want to meet for 2 hours. And I was like, no, like we'll get like on a date, like we'll get like coffee or something, because she was going to Spain. And she was so annoyed by me, but I was like, I have to get the Hawaiian shirt. I ended up seeing
And it was
that
a great
girl.
game also.
It was a great game.
Remember what happened that weekend?
What happened that weekend?
So the Friday night was when Todd Frazier hit the 3-run home run against Doolittle to tie it, and then Conforto had the walk-off. And the next night, the Mets came back. Guillorme hit a big home run against Fernando Rodney, I believe, and then J.D. Davis had a sack. J.D. Davis hit a home run against Strasburg that night.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the weekend when Stroman made his Mets debut. That was like kind of during that exciting run. But yeah, I remember Strasburg gave up the home run to J.D., and like the entire place was wearing the Hawaiian shirt.
Dude,
the cameraman, Pete from SNY, was wearing the Hawaiian shirt.
Dude, the Hawaiian shirt was a hit, and you still see it to this day. But that girl that I was talking to that didn't want to see me, I waited 2 weeks.
Did you
saw
marry her?
when she got back, and then I married her, and that's my wife.
Okay.
And funny enough, I got an extra Hawaiian shirt that night, and so she also has a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, so you
But
guys...
she always makes fun of me for that. She was like, "You like the promo item so much that you almost
almost lost out on your wife."
I almost like lost out on my wife because I wanted to get the promo item so badly.
Married to the promo items.
Dude,
what can the man say? I told you he has a problem.
I would make my before I worked here, I would like give my wife dates on the calendar and be like, these are games you need to be my +1 so I can get an extra bobblehead. Because I need one to put on my desk and to display, and then I need one that goes into storage.
You need a spare.
I give to my child one day.
Do you have anything else to say?
You know what? This has been a really fun episode of the show. I'm getting really hungry. I've not eaten today yet.
Opening day, baby. It's around the corner. Let's go.
Opening day is just hours away. I can't wait to be watching the game. I can't wait to watch those announcements. Guys, get to the stadium early. Take public transportation. Get here. Get in for those ceremonies.
To the
because that's the
game.
whole point. I went to a game with somebody one time who came in like as the.
You got to be in your seat for Howie Rose's first word out of the mouth.
It's the whole point is watching the players line up. It's the excitement of being back here. It's opening day. It's baseball season. Like and subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave some comments below. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want to hear more of, what you're into. What are you feeling about this year?
Be nice, be mean, whatever you're feeling. And also, on opening day, which is now Friday, by the way.
Oh, I can't believe I almost didn't bring this up.
Which is now Friday. Vito and I are going to be out. You guessed it. By the Apple. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have some signed merch to give away. So make sure you come by, subscribe, come say hi. Come tell us how much you love us, how much you hate us. Don't say that. Whatever it is you want to say, but please come by because we want to meet all you guys. This is a podcast for the people, and I think that's important.
For the people, by the people.
That's right.
Meet us at the Apple.
We'll see you there next time.